Attention all watchers of birds. It's time for Out There with the Birds, the podcast that's sweeping the nation, or at least parts of Ohio and Wisconsin, with your hosts, Ben Lizdas and Bill Thompson III. Out There with the Birds is supported by Swarovski Optic, makers of the amazing EL series of binoculars and the BTX spotting scope, which combines the magnification of a scope with the clarity and comfort of binocular vision. Learn more at SwarovskiOptic.com. That's Swarovski followed by optic with a K.com. Tamron camera lenses offer powerful performance that exceeds your imagination. Discover the full line of ultra telephoto zoom lenses at tamron-usa.com. Red Start Birding is your new resource for birding optics, gear, and expertise. Great birding starts at redstartbirding.com. And support also comes from the Reader Rendezvous Birding Adventures from Birdwatchers Digest. Come birding with us in our favorite places. Learn more at birdwatchersdigest.com/RR. And now, here they are, Bill and Ben.
All right, Ben, welcome back. Happy New Year. We're back and better than ever.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Now, technically, this is going to be the second episode out of the new year because there was one we recorded just before the new year that was just released. But for you and I, this is our first time of the new year being able to podcast together.
Right, so we need to be gentle.
That's right, but it's always such a memorable thing. These, bringing in the new year, there's always kind of a first of year podcast. That this would be our first of year podcast, right?
And do you have any podcast resolutions for this year? Learning to edit, maybe?
Oh, you know what? That would take a little bit of work off your plate. I think learning to edit would be a great podcast resolution.
Let's make that both our resolutions.
I like that idea. What about birding resolutions? Do you have any bird watching resolutions for the year?
You know, I'm just going to try to spend more time zenning out and enjoying every bird. I really want to do that. I'm in the middle of reading Noah Stricker's book where he's racing around and setting the world record.
Which is not zenning out and enjoying every bird so much. I'm not saying that Noah didn't enjoy every one of those birds, of course, because I'm sure he did.
And he was aware of the frenetic pace that he had to set to do that. However, I'm trying to just zen out and be in the moment with as many birds as I can. That's my resolution. How about yours?
That's interesting, and we'll get back to why I think that's interesting later on in the program. But my birding resolution would be to not dismiss gulls so easily. That's to not let gulls go unidentified like I tend to do.
Good luck with that, bro.
When I'm out birding on my own, even with a group of people where it's like not a tour or something where I don't feel compelled, like, all right, we got to get on this gull and get it on the list. I'll see a gull going by and I'm like, there goes a gull. Okay, next. And good luck. Exactly. We'll see, when we're at the Space Coast Birding Festival together in a couple of weeks and we're on the beach and the gulls are going by.
I'm going to test you on that.
You can see. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be able to identify them.
I want to take you
I have to pay attention to them.
I want to take you to Daytona Shores where that gigantic fly in and out of gulls happens. And I want you to identify every gull. We're going to put this resolution to the test.
I was at that beach with Michael O'Brien for some kind of gull conference that I was down there with some folks. And I was at the beach with Michael, and we were there for a couple hours, and he's right by my side. Michael's a great teacher, obviously a fantastic birder. And I was like, Michael, help me try to understand gulls better. And my attention span there was about 45 minutes. So how am I going to get it to go 365 days? I don't know. Oh. I've got Michael O'Brien right on my right-hand side telling me about gulls. I'm like 45 minutes into it. I'm like, is that a willet over there? So we'll see. But so maybe I should pick a different one. I mean, what would be some other bird watching New Year's resolutions? I tend to focus on I want to be better identifying such and such. So I could see someone saying, I want to learn sparrows or fall plumage warblers this year, or I want to, I don't know, do a county list. What are
there. I always like to try to add a new bird or two, and I'm getting down to a small handful. I bet you are too. That there's really nowhere I can go except maybe Central Alaska or Hawaii where I could add more than one or twosies of lifers. So
Yeah.
I would love to try and add new bird. There's I got a chance at some, like one of these springs in March. I want to go over to Western Ohio and try to catch the Smith's longspurs that come through there. But really, ivory gull, that you mentioned, that would be a lifer for me.
There's an ivory gull in Lake County, Illinois. There was. It hasn't been relocated or seen recently, but as of 2 days ago, I think there was one. This is 2.5 hours away from where I live.
Oh my gosh! And you haven't gone yet?
Well,
what about your resolution?
So Bill, I know we weren't going to talk about this, but first off, you're going to
go
a lot
there.
of work going on. Second of all, I've got some ski races I'm going to this weekend, and in between is like 2 days that I've had where I could have gone and chased it. I've gotten a vasectomy.
The change of life.
And so I just need to rest. I need to rest. And
you took the cure.
It was poor timing on my part or on the gull's part. I don't know, but this is my window to get this little operation done so I can go and ski the Birkebeiner in February.
That's true
and
dedication.
I can still get some training in. And so had I known this gull was there, would I have kind of, decided to do this little operation at some point later? I don't know. But anyways, so already my first resolution for the New Year's, we're not going to talk about my vasectomy on the podcast.
Right. Let's definitely not talk about let's not talk about your vasectomy, okay? Deal.
And another New Year's resolution that I was thinking about related to birding.
That was a super smooth transition, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
And it kind of gets to your resolution about trying to spend more time zenning out with birds, as you say, just kind of appreciating them, being in the moment with them. I would love to use field sketching more as a way to really familiarize myself with birds on a level that I think field sketching provides, that goes beyond just visual sightings or obviously auditory sightings.
Sure.
Or so that would be another New Year's resolution. I think that might be worth considering for some. I'm going to try sketching more birds this year, but maybe sketching might be a better resolution for me than the gulls. I don't know.
What about sketching gulls? Combine those, and you can also talk about we can talk about your favorite pen that you turned me on to, the Pilot Precise V5 RT, which now I'm addicted to, and I got Liam a few of them and he's an artist. He's using them, so maybe you can use your favorite pen to learn field sketching while you're identifying gulls. Pen. That's like the triple crown of New Year's resolutions.
The fact that I have a favorite pen, really, I think I've already. That's the one thing that really appeals to me about sketching stuff, is that I get to deal with art supplies, and I love nice pens and nice paper and that kind of stuff. I can't draw worth a damn.
No, every time I try field sketching, every single thing I draw ends up looking like some variation of a blob of bread dough with popsicle sticks coming out of it. And that comes from art professionals like Julie Zickafoos and others. So,
yeah, well, we're going to be in Titusville, Florida for the Space Coast Birding Festival. Our reader rendezvous, Catherine Hamilton's going to be there with us doing field sketching components. Perhaps you might be able to take a little session on the field sketching that Catherine's doing with some of our participants on that rendezvous. And maybe, Bill, you could be a cover artist for Birdwatchers Digest at some point in 2018.
I already have been, A. And B, usually when I'm part of a field sketching workshop, I'm used as the example of what not to do. Yeah. So if I can do that, I'm happy to be, that sort of ammunition to fuel the fires of other people's artistic dreams coming true. So,
yeah. So essentially, what you're telling me is you're going to become a highly regarded bird illustrator and artist when I become a highly regarded guitarist.
That's right. Okay. Although, I will say this, I'll be zenning out with birds down there, so maybe the field sketching mojo will overcome me, and all of a sudden I'll be wildly... I've had those dreams where, like, you walk into the middle of a room and there's a whole bunch of people and there's a piano, and even though I don't really play piano, I can noodle a little bit, but I sit down and, like, these amazing things are coming out of my fingers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I hope I never wake up. Maybe that'll happen with field sketching.
in a dream, or you just open yourself up to the possibility, and in real life, you think you
That's
might
right.
just.
That's right. Open your
think it's possible.
chakras, your third eye up to, having that stuff. Oh wait, we weren't going to talk about. Okay, so January, Ben, it's a
Hmm.
time when the mail is filled with gardening catalogs, and I know you
Yes,
love to garden.
I
You're
do love to garden.
you're a green thumb guy up there in America's Dairyland. What is your favorite thing that you grow in your garden? What's your because you're also a foodie.
Yeah.
You are basically the most metro guy that I know. So but you don't have a bee beard, so you're not a hipster metro guy.
That's true.
But what's your favorite thing that you get out of your garden? And then follow up question: what do you plant anything for
O-
birds?
Okay, so first, there's two answers because I can't just have one favorite thing. There's two favorite things I have that come out of my garden. One is garlic. I love garlic. First, you plant it in the fall, so it's always because it's planted in the fall. It's always one of the first things to come up out of the ground in the spring. So, it is one of the first things that is green and visible in your garden when all the other rows are going to have either super small little seedlings or even just seeds in the ground, nothing green above the ground. And garlic is just a wonder food. So garlic, can't live without it. That would be my number one. But number two, the vegetable that gives all season long, collard greens. I love collard greens. You plant them, you just keep snipping the leaves off the plants, and just all season long, you can do tons of different things with them. They taste good. They're good for you. They go well past frost. So collard greens would be the other thing. That would be collard greens, garlic. For the birds, really, sunflowers. Sun, and the place where I garden, I live in this little kind of small village type community, 7,000 people, but I garden outside of town. This friend of mine has a cheesemaker, has a place where I garden, and it's grassland area, lots of bluebirds and finches and orioles nest out there, uh, chickadees, of course, titmice, and when I'm out gardening, there's just birds kind of everywhere, and it's a wonderful place to be. And certainly, planting sunflowers out there, there'll always be birds
Yeah,
shooting in and out of the garden
it's a good
all the
call.
all the time while I'm out there. It's great.
It's a good call. Yep,
Yeah, that's
love
like
it.
your basic. I mean, what else would you put out in the garden? I'm trying to think of what else I would put in my garden to attract birds during gardening season. I
Well,
think of crab apples and
yeah. I mean, there are some things that we've planted over the years. Zinnias are a great one.
really.
Cosmos. These are all things that butterflies and birds, like especially like hummingbirds, will go to while they're
Mhm.
blooming, and then in the fall after frost, when you leave the dead heads up, then the seed eaters come in. So finches and chickadees, siskins, and
Mhm.
so there are a bunch of them. I mean, penstemons.
Yeah.
Coneflower is a huge one. That's one that is great for insects and butterflies. I also like, and this is one that's just I brought from my mom's backyard out to the farms. It's evening primrose, and it's not so great in the daytime for birds, but it
Mm.
blooms right at dusk, and there are night nectaring moths that come to it. And then when it goes to seed in the fall, the birds are all over it. They like the little seeds from that. So I think that's how it
Oh,
spreads
that's a
around the
good
yard.
tip.
So
So some of these plants in the garden, really, you're kind of like sunflowers, just a crop for fall seeds
yeah, and you
for
enjoy
the
their
birds,
beauty, and then they
and
kind of
the pollinators coming
yeah
in.
they kind of
I
seed
love
out later.
gardening. The biggest challenging for me as being a bird watcher who enjoys gardening, particularly someone who works in the bird watching field where we're attending a lot of events in the spring. I mean, you look at our schedule from May into the beginning of June when we're going to be at the New River Birding Festival. There you got the biggest week, the Ketchimek Bay Shorebird Festival, the Acadia Birding Festival. I'm gone from this giant period of time, which is prime planting time for my garden. So my garden always gets in late. But it's the sacrifices that we make for our jobs and for birds and the other things that we love.
And for America, let's not
And
forget
for
America.
America. That's right. That's right.
Ben, I think about you up there in Mount Horeb, where you live, and I think about how cold it must be right now.
It is frosty. So right now, when I drove over to my little office today, it was -5
Yeah.
degrees. That was before wind chill. So it's cold, but I pride myself in being a hardy northerner, so I don't let the cold get me down. I was outside yesterday before my procedure, um, doing some skiing on a little local lake out here, getting in a final workout. And I think as long as you keep moving out there, the sun is shining. Being outdoors in winter is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, I can get that. I think I'm going to go home tonight and get my skis and do a little jaunt around. We don't get that many days in the winter here in Southeast Ohio where cross country skiing is a possibility. So when it is, kind of
Bring your binoculars with you.
We've been doing a ton of sledding though.
Oh, really?
Yep, it's been really really fun. It's been super great conditions, and the only thing is you kind of have to take a day off or so to let your bum recover, because we do these long runs and you hit the occasional anthill or cow pie, and you feel it. Yeah.
Yep.
You feel it. All right. So last time we talked, we wrapped up by you saying you thought you were going to get back into optics retail. Is that actually happening?
Yeah.
Are you ready to say?
Are we going to talk about that now?
No, let's not talk about it now.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later. But I got something else we can talk about.
Well, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about, first of year stuff. Like, with the new year comes the kind of a reset of bird lists, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of the beginning of the fiscal year for bird watchers. All right, so it's sort of a clearing of the bank account for birding. Everyone kind of starts their year list at 0 for those who are listing. And of course, last year we had, every once in a while there's these higher profile big year listers. You just were talking about Noah Stricker's book where he did a global big year. In 2017 we had 3 big year competitors in the North American birding checklist area, which now includes Hawaii, and they came up to 813 species each.
Yeah.
They all kind of tied, I guess, for 2017.
Which I find suspect. I think the Russians must have been behind that.
You know what? We got to get our friends at the American Birding Association maybe to appoint a committee to investigate something like that. That's a pretty heady accusation, though, there, Bill.
Well, I'm sure Jeff Gordon might have to recuse himself. But I just
including Hawaii involved in there. We could maybe it was the Hawaiians that were involved, huh?
Yeah, something smells fishy about that all being tied. It's
So I've never, I keep a kind of a list for a life list. Year listing is something I've never really gotten into, although you've gotten me turned on to the idea of, what is the first bird of the year that you see.
Yeah.
So even just like whatever, we always look at the January 1st as a day of counting birds in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just you're just seeing what the first year of the bird of the year was or whatnot. This year, I woke up on January 1st, looked outside. I had to find a bird. It was freezing cold. Everything was hunkered down. Once it warmed up a little bit later in the morning, first I saw some birds perched up in a little birch tree in my backyard. House sparrow. Disappointing, right? However,
hey man, house sparrows are people too.
Okay, all right. I'm not going to argue with that logic.
This is the Zen me.
I love it. So disappointing, but the second bird of the year was a common redpoll.
Hey now.
And that was a yard bird for me as
awesome.
well. So started out the second bird of the year with common redpoll. And then once I got my eyes on the common redpoll, I saw up in the tree the pine siskins were up there. Then I'm like, I got to get out and fill the bird feeder. So filled the bird feeder. The siskins are coming in. Goldfinches are coming in. Didn't get the redpoll to come in, but it ended up being a pretty good day birding wise. That night had a great horned owl hooting in the tree right outside my bedroom. So it was a very good and birdie January 1st for me.
Good for you. I'm pleased for you. Redpoll's a really good bird.
It is. So it kind of inspired me a little bit to try to think of maybe we should have, Bill, an Out There with the Birds big year competition. You and me, baby.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm down with it. Is it just going to be North America?
No. Nope. Global big year.
Oh, dude. Okay.
Mano y mano.
Okay.
Yep. And we're going to a lot of the same places. Granted. Now you're going to end up pulling out some trip to like Botswana or something, and then it's going to be game over.
Well,
maybe not.
Maybe not. I mean, dude,
might not know what I have up my sleeve.
You're the person who last year went to Costa Rica 17 times in 1 month.
Exactly.
I didn't go once.
So you never know how it's going to shake out. I know we're going to be in Honduras together. We're going to be birding in the Rocky Mountains together. So we've got some, and who knows, maybe it will be like the 2017 big year listers where we'll have the same number. But I'm going to say, let's do an Out There with the Birds big year. Every once in a while, we can just update our listeners where we're at.
All right, dude.
And I'm not going all out. I still want you to be zen. You know me. I'm going to try. My big year list is going to be gull heavy, I think.
Yeah, it would be, because now your eyes are open to those, man. And
well, not yet, but they're aspirationally open to them.
Exactly. All right. So my first bird of the year was the junco. I wanted to try to like, really get something special, but junco is a good bird. Junco is also the bird that my grandmother Thompson, rest her soul, claimed one day when she was babysitting me at the old farmhouse out here that no longer exists because the highway took it away. But she was feeding me at the wooden high chair on a snowy, probably January morning, and she claimed that I looked outside and pointed and said junco at the juncos at the feeder. So she claimed that's what got me my start in bird watching when I was probably, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. I don't know. No, maybe. I mean, I was slow to develop. I might have been 7 or 8 years old, but anyway. So junco was my first word. It was also my first bird of 2018.
Interesting. One of the things that popped in my head there when you said Grandma Thompson and junco. You know how you have these birds that have these kind of old type names. Whether it's the the flicker and the being called the yellow hammer, or the old squaw for long-tailed duck, or these kind of, I think a junco's got to have some sort of like old Nicky namey type thing.
Well, they called them snowbirds.
Snowbirds.
That was the original snowbird because the upper half was gray like the sky and the bottom half was white like the ground, like the snow-covered ground. So.
All right. Junco. It seems to me like when I'm visioning. And I've never met Grandma Thompson, but in my mind, when she sees a junco, she's calling it some kind of old-timey kind of like, oh yeah, that's a chalk-dusted barley hopper. Or something, I'm just thinking like juncos.
Are you still on the? Are you still on the painkillers from your operation, dude? What the? Oh my gosh.
For some reason, junco seems ripe for like a really cute kind of old school name.
You're right.
Common. They're got charisma, and they're just the kind of birds that people have been seeing for so long. Yep. They got to have some old school, localized, vernacular type name like the chalk dusted barley hopper.
I like it.
I think I might call it that.
It rolls off the tongue. The junco is also the cover bird on the current issue of Birdwatchers Digest, and there's a fabulous article in there about all the different races and subspecies of juncos.
I love the illustration with that article, the map that has the illustration of all the different kind of headshots of all the different juncos and the plumage differences, and that's one of the things that makes junco so interesting. And one of the things that makes Birdwatchers Digest so interesting, great graphics like that. But yeah, when I looked at that issue, when I saw that graphic there, I'm like, that is super cool.
And if people want to check that out, they can look at birdwatchersdigest-digital.com and look for the January-February 2018 issue. It's the feature cover species profile. And I believe even if you're not a subscriber, you can still look at maybe 24 pages of every digital issue at birdwatchersdigest-digital.com. Of course, we hope you're going to fall in love with the content and want to join our many thousands of subscribers. And we have special offers right now. Actually, through, I believe, the end of January, you can get a half-price subscription. So give us a call.
Just
get online.
use the coupon code Chalk Dusted Barley Hopper.
Exactly. Promo code Chalk Dusted Barley Hopper. Rolls off the tongue. Rolls off the keyboard. All right. What the other thing that we're really doing here, Mr. Barley Hopper, is we've just started in earnest preparation for the 2018 American Birding Expo. Emily, our events coordinator, and we had a meeting the other day with you guys, and we kind of got our brains together. I feel like we're kicking it into gear. Registration for exhibitors is going to be open. It's going to be back in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. Bigger and better than ever. We're going to be in a bigger room. We're going to have a big optics range where you can test the optics of your dreams. So I'm excited about that. It's an event that's near and dear to my heart.
It seems like a long ways away.
It's
and
not.
Probably if I were someone who was planning on attending it, it seems like a long way away. As someone who is planning an event like that, it seems just around the corner.
It does. It's like as close as the flick of a tail of a chalk-dusted barley hopper.
It's always such a fun time, though.
That's right. Okay, now, do you have anything else you want to add? Because otherwise I got a musical recommendation.
Let me hear it. Lay it on me.
All right. I'm going back in time again, bro, because sometimes you can plumb the archives. Sometimes you can get overwhelmed with new stuff. Now, this is not my recommendation, but this is something that struck me as surprising. Got a notification from NPR the other day that they had a Tiny Desk concert from Hanson. And I was like, huh. Curiosity got the better of me. I got to click and see what the kids who did Bop were doing now.
Yeah.
Turns out they've grown into fine young specimens, and they did an original Christmas album, and they did 3 or 4 songs live on one of the Tiny Desk concerts. It was really good, I got to say. Not my musical recommendation.
No,
those Hanson boys can sing. They can all play. They got mega personalities. It's no wonder they've been famous, and they're appearing now on shows like the morning TV shows, Dr. Phil, all the hot spots.
So I'm trying to think. I mean, you kind of said this was not going to be your musical recommendation.
It's not.
Now
I'm just calling.
Maybe backtracking on it and saying I would recommend it, or is it just because you're reluctant to recommend a Christmas album?
No. Well, that's part of it, and they were all wearing Christmas sweaters. But I will say that
is like so what I'm not in the mood for. Like as of January 1st,
Right.
I'm like, pitch the Christmas tree out,
right?
Get all the decorations down. Let's kind of
take the Hanson CD out of the player.
Take the Hanson CD off of repeat.
Well, you know what? I'm tipping my hat because those boys can sing and play, and I was impressed. I love good musicianship, even if I'm not a super big fan of the music.
You gave him a second look, and gave him a second chance, and lo and behold, now they're kind of. The spot that they hold in your musical mental index is just a couple notches higher.
Yeah, man, tip of the hat. You know what? Tip of the hat. So the recommendation I want to make for people, I grew up listening to jazz, and my parents both were jazz musicians. My mom was a singer, my dad's a piano player, and I fell in love with the sort of the cool jazz of the West Coast from sort of the like the 50s through the 60s, and it kind of would come up and have these revivals.
Like Dave Brubeck? I'm thinking Dave Brubeck.
Yeah, Dave Brubeck, right, Jerry Mulligan, Chet Baker, Art Pepper, sort of Stan Kenton, although he was really kind of earlier, but Stan Getz definitely, but Stan Getz was kind of became more famous for his sort of bossa nova stuff. There's an album by a guitarist named Jim Hall called Concierto, and it's got an unbelievable lineup of players. It's got Jim Hall on guitar. It's got Ron Carter on bass. It's got Steve Gadd, legendary session drummer, on drums. Chet Baker on trumpet. It's just phenomenal. And it's also got piano. It's got saxophone. And man, it's just unbelievably good. I highly recommend it. It's been out there for a long time. You can download it on iTunes. I did the other day and played it. I've been playing it in the evenings, cooking dinner, and it's just a great, great album. Jazz, not a single vocal on it. It's just beautiful, beautiful jazz. And the Concierto, the name of the album is a reference to one of the big songs on it called Concierto de Aranjuez, which is kind of a famous Latin, almost like a bossa nova tune. I could listen. That's a desert island disc for me for sure. Jim Hall, Concierto.
That song might even be on Miles Davis's album, Sketches of Spain. I think he did that too, which is another great jazz album, of course. And, it just seems like my vasectomy is coming in all sorts of directions in this podcast. But yeah, I rolled into the procedure room and the doctor's like, what do you want to be your soundtrack for your vasectomy? I've got Spotify here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I told, and so I'm a big jazz fan. So I said, play some Hank Mobley for me.
Ooh, that's good, man.
Yeah, but Concierto de Aranjuez is the first song on Sketches of Spain, classic. Right. And yeah, so all right, Jim Hall's on. Yeah,
the other two musicians on that are Paul Desmond on saxophone and Roland Hanna on piano. Again,
when was it recorded?
It was recorded in, let's see here, 1975. All
right, nice.
I believe.
Okay.
It's just phenomenal. Chet Baker was kind of making his comeback then, and I'm a huge Chet Baker fan, so can't go wrong with any of his stuff. But I just wanted to give a shout out to some beautiful jazz music that anybody, even non-jazz fans, would find completely listenable. I've been listening to this album since college.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna get that one for sure. I like it.
Okay. Well, dude, I think we're at 30 minutes. That's not great.
Yeah, this was an ear burner, wasn't it?
It was. But we're giving people, a big, juicy bite to start their year off right.
Good out there with the birds content to get them through these cold winter days.
And probably if I go back and just edit out the vasectomy references, that'll probably take 15 minutes off that 30-minute total.
If not 20.
Yeah. All right, man. Listen, until next time, be good. Get that bag of frozen peas, and I'll see you, buddy. See you soon.
All right. Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Out There with the Birds. Special thanks to Swarovski, our optics sponsor. Learn more about their fine line of birding and lifestyle optics at SwarovskiOptic.com. That's Swarovski followed by optic.com. If you love to take photos of birds, Tamron telephoto camera lenses offer powerful performance that exceeds your imagination. Discover more at tamron-usa.com. Your source for the best birding optics is Red Start Birding. Great birding starts here, redstartbirding.com. Finally, we're also supported by the Reader Rendezvous birding trips from Birdwatchers Digest. Your next birding adventure starts at birdwatchersdigest.com/rr. Tune in next time for some more zany chats from the birding hepcats, Bill and Ben. Until then, this is Phoebe saying keep your woodpeckers peckin' and your prairie chickens leckin', and we'll see you out there with the birds.